Hi, this is Julie Campbell for Two Peas in a Bucket. Welcome to this month's Trendy Trios class. This month I'm focusing on the chalkboard trend, and to begin with we're going to be creating this school-inspired card. I'm using this stamp set from Lawn Fawn. It's called A Good Apple, and I love all of the school-themed images and sentiments that come in this stamp set. So to begin with, I just am inking up the chalkboard frame that comes in the set. And then I'm just stamping that onto a scrap piece of white cardstock. And as you'll see here, I'm taking a Copic marker and very messily just covering up all of the wooden border that's on this chalkboard image. And you'll be able to see when we're finished here that you do not have to stay inside the lines. It just makes it a little bit easier. This is some double-sided pattern paper from Echo Park, and there's just basically a darker shade on one side that we're going to be using. I wanted to create a chalkboard that is in the green shade that you'll see a lot of school chalkboards in, so I decided to use this color to work with. So I've just stamped that same image again on the pattern paper, and now I'm taking some chalk ink and just going around the edges, trying to give it a more realistic chalkboard effect. So I've got kind of a brighter green, this is a darker green, and then you'll see here in a minute I'm using a really soft mint green and then a more turquoise color to kind of bring out the blue that's in this shade as well. So I'm just using a sponge and a cotton tip, whatever you have on hand, and just kind of rub that along the edges. Just kind of adding some depth here to our image. So now I'm just taking a piece of, I'm taking my scissors and I'm cutting out the inside of this chalkboard frame. I just like to cut right along the edge there of the stamped image. So now the inside is all trimmed out, and I'm going to adhere that onto the original stamped image that we colored earlier. So now you can see it's starting to come together, and I'm inking up one of the little images. It's an apple from the set, and I'm just stamping that where it looks like it's sitting on the ledge of the chalkboard. And then this is a little eraser that I'm doing the same. So I'm taking a look at the sentiments that are in this stamp set. I'm just placing them over my image to kind of see how, if I like the layout, and just to make sure that everything fits properly before I start stamping. So I'm using some VersaFine ink, and that's my ink of choice when I'm not using markers, because it just provides a really nice crisp image. And I like the mix of fonts that Lawn Fawn used in this set. I think it gives it a really cute finish. Now I'm taking a white gel pen and just coloring in the inside of the letters that are found in the word thanks. It's just going to help the word to just kind of stand out a little bit better. So once I'm finished with that, I've stamped the apple and the little eraser on another piece of scratch paper, colored them, and then trimmed them out, and now I'm adhering them over the original image. And I stamp it twice because sometimes whenever you're cutting things out, you might cut a little bit of the edge off of the image, and if you already have it stamped where you're going to adhere, it just kind of makes everything, just the lines look a lot neater and nicer. And I didn't really like how the green was blending in of the eraser in the chalkboard, so I changed that to red. And now I'm just trimming out the entire image here. So here is what the chalkboard looks like once it's trimmed. This is a vintage grab bag and it's exclusive to 2Ps, and basically it's just full of some really cute ephemera, and I believe that each pack is a little bit different, so you might not get the exact same ephemera in yours, but they do come with, here's a little worksheet that is a little vintage school piece of ephemera, and I thought it would really be fun to kind of add a real life piece of schoolwork onto the front of our card. And now I'm pulling out, these are some page dividers that are part of the capture line by Basic Gray, and they fit right inside of their little mini books that they have, and they come in, they're double-sided and each side is a little different, so I'm looking for something that would fit in with the school theme. And I like this last piece. The notebook paper looks nice, but the colors just didn't really pop. But I do like the edge there that looks like a torn notebook page from a piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use that part of it and adhere this little worksheet ephemera piece right onto that. And I think it also matches really well with the wood that we used the Copic marker to color along the outside of that chalkboard. So I'm just kind of looking for placement here. And then I'll adhere that down. Now I want to add in some pattern paper, and this is from their carte postale. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that, but I'm looking for something that would still be school themed, and then it would kind of bring out some of the color also that we have going on here. And I really liked this piece. It has little bubbles with letters in it, and it kind of reminded me of those Scantron forms that you used back in school to take tests, so it kind of fit in with the school theme. And also the mustard color looks really well with that notebook paper that we used earlier. So I just trimmed a piece of, it's that same pattern paper that we stamped the chalkboard image on, the bluish green piece of paper, and cut that to size. And I'm just kind of laying things out, just making sure I like how things look. And now I'm going to adhere that patterned paper, actually the two pieces of patterned paper, onto each other. So I'm just taking a pair of scissors and trimming off that excess paper here. And now I can adhere all of these different layers together. I felt like I needed something dark to help ground the chalkboard image that I'd colored. It just kind of seemed to be floating there in the middle of the card. So I'm pulling out, this is some chalkboard tape, and I'm just kind of taking a look and making sure that I like the way it looks before I trim off a section. And this chalkboard tape can, it's a kind of a smoother texture, but it works really well with the white gel pen that I showed you earlier, and the ink adheres really well to that. So they're fun to kind of use together. I'm just creating a little notched end here to give it a little bit more design. And then I'm going to slide that in place. And then just wrap that around the edge. There's a tiny bit of this worksheet that is coming off the bottom of the card, so I'm going to trim that little edge to keep everything nice and even. And now I am adhering the card front onto a card base. So I'm starting out with a 12 by 12 sheet because my card was 6 inches tall, and then just trimming and scoring that top ledge. So this completes our card number 1. So in our first project, we used an actual chalkboard image, but in the second project that we'll be working on, I'm going to show you a project that can be made from a product that already has this fun chalkboard image as part of the design. This pattern paper is from the Cut and Paste collection by My Mind's Eye, and I love these really adorable chalkboard frames that are part of the design. This is the Travel Girl Miscellany Pack by October Afternoon, and it comes with all kinds of cute little ephemera pieces and buttons and different things that I thought would be fun to use to fill up some of the frames in this chalkboard paper. So I've just pulled out a few things that I'd like to use. So now I'm just taking those little ephemera pieces and just kind of seeing what fits where. So I don't want to cover up any part of the frame with my ephemera, so I'm taking a craft knife and then just cutting out the middles of a couple of these frames. So once I've gotten a good placement for each of my pieces of ephemera, I'm just using some washi tape and just tacking those down on the back. These are some rub-ons from the Dear Lizzie collection, and I love using rub-ons with dark paper because the color remains true and they just really pop off the front of your card. So this is a little banner that I'm rubbing on here, the little hello banner. So now I've trimmed my piece of pattern paper down to a card size, and these are a few of the bows that I have left from Studio Calico. And I'm wanting to use this little cream one because it coordinates really well with that ephemera piece at the top. And it does come with some adhesive on the back, but I wanted to make sure that this bow did not fall off during the time I'm mailing it, so I used some hot glue. This is a little turquoise button that's found in that same Travel Girl ephemera pack. It comes with several of these different colored plastic buttons. They look like vintage buttons, and I thought it would be a fun, I like to have some different dimension on the front of my cards. So I'm just using that hot glue once again to make sure everything stays in place. Just need to trim those ends off. So I'm getting some really nice color on the front of this card, but I want to fill in some more of these little frames. So I'm just looking through my rub-ons and finding some that I think would work well in some of these different spots. And I like these little arrow tails. And I thought they would look kind of cute here on the edge. And then it's nice too because they're various colors and it kind of brings all of the different colors of this card together. I'm going to trim off some of these flowers here at the top for this frame. And then I just have one more frame I need to fill here at the bottom, but actually I want to add this little heart to the hello frame. And now we will work on this bottom frame. So initially I thought I would put this little flower on the bottom. It looked really cute on the rub-on sheet, but when I applied it onto my card front, the only part that you can really see is the flower because the rest of the image is a dark color. So to remove a rub-on, you can just take some Scotch tape and put that over your rub-on image and then pull that Scotch tape off. So instead I'm going to use this little ombre heart here at the bottom. And that shows up a lot better. So the final step for this card is to adhere it onto a card base, and I wanted to bring out some of that really fun color that's in the card, so I'm adhering it to this bright green piece of cardstock. So here is our finished card. So we've created a card using an actual chalkboard, some products that have chalkboard inspired prints on them, and for our third and final card we're going to be creating a faux chalkboard look. So I'm starting out with a piece of black cardstock and just some white chalk, and I'm just rubbing that chalk all along the cardstock, just kind of covering the majority of the piece. And then I'm just taking a paper towel and just kind of rubbing off the excess chalk. So as you can see, it's already starting to look like an authentic chalk piece. These are some really adorable stamps from Mama Elephant. And I'm removing one of the larger floral images and using some of the clear Versamark ink. I'm stamping that floral image right there in the corner. I'm taking one of the sentiments from the stamp set and then doing the same. So now I'm taking some white embossing powder and covering all of the area that we've inked. I'm going to be doing this in a couple of different stages because I wanted to make sure that the ink remained moist enough to get a really good embossed impression. So now I'm just heat setting that white embossing powder until it all becomes smooth. And now I'm just doing the same steps with a few different flowers and just kind of covering some of the other areas on the card front. I think these floral images are really pretty, and the sentiment is one of two, and I think it's just so cute. I haven't seen anything like that. It says, "Hello, I miss your face." So once again, just covering that with the embossing powder, flicking off any excess, and then heat setting that. So now I am taking those same images, and instead of using Versamark, this time I'm using some of white chalk ink. This is from Prima, and I'm just stamping kind of, I want it to not be exactly perfect. I want it to kind of create a white shadow on the image to kind of give it a more authentic chalkboard feel. So I'm just using my heat gun just to, once again, just to make sure that that chalk doesn't smear too much while I'm working on my next step. So I'm taking a ruler and my white gel pen, and I'm just tracing a border around the edge. Now I'm just adhering this panel onto some light pink cardstock. And then I'm adding that onto another piece of black cardstock. This is some washi tape from My Mind's Eye. It's from their Chalk Studio collection, and it comes with 4 rolls of washi tape that already has that really adorable chalkboard image imprinted on it. This piece actually is it's got the black chalkboard stripe with a really nice soft pink that happens to coordinate just perfectly with my pink cardstock. So I'm going to use that to add a little bit of design and to kind of ground my image even more. So I'm just checking to make sure I like the placement. And then I'll just wrap those edges around the back side. So now I can adhere this panel together onto this black cardstock. And then the final step is to adhere that card front onto a pink card base. So this completes our third and final project. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about some different ways to incorporate the chalkboard trend into your crafts. For more inspiration and for links to all of the supplies used on these projects, as well as some other favorite chalkboard products, please visit twopeasinabucket.com.